No, not me, that's for you guys. That's your speaking note.
No, that's speaking up. So what do you want me to tell them?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the media. I'm Sixtus Edwards, and I'm pleased to be on the ticket for the May 11th and 15th general elections. Then you go start.
And then you read.
Ready? The house? I think we're missing one person. May I pause it before we start?
Pause.
There you go. Just in 1 minute, I think somebody else should be here, but the person's not here as yet. So within a minute, I'll know if we can go. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, thank you for accepting our invitation to today's press conference. As Guyanese prepare to exercise their democratic right to vote for a political party of their choice at the May 11 general and regional elections, we wish to provide some insights into the exciting developments in the camp of the People Progressive Party, Civic. As you may know by now, the party has been benefiting from an influx of talented and reputable individuals who are choosing to embrace progress of Guyana under the PPPC. As we look around, we see all new faces, all youthful faces. I have two gentlemen here. I'm sure they fall under the bracket of being youthful too. Almost. But today's media engagement will be focused on highlighting the milestone of the government over the last few years, as well as to get an insight from the persons who are in the list of candidates as to their involvement and why they have chosen to embrace the PPPC for the May 11 general and regional elections. Allow me to introduce from my extreme left, Ms. Africa Selman, another youthful gentleman here, Mr. Sixtus Edwards. To my right, Ms. Roshni Boudou. Going further, Dr. Peter Ramsarup, and to the far end of my right, Ms. Sarah Brown, and yours truly, Olive Gopal. Before I go further into this, over the last few days, several of the new faces and the new persons who have endorsed the PPPC for the general and regional elections have come under severe criticisms. I myself have come under severe criticisms for being associated with and for supporting the party. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, a lot of you are my friends. I would like to say that each of us, we have a right to choose. It is our democratic right to choose, whether it's for a religion or a political party or wherever it is our choice. We have that right to choose the party we would like to align ourselves with. And likewise, each of you have that right. So let this be a time where we respect our brothers and sisters' choice, and let us work together to see how do we move forward. What is important is not attacking the individuals, but how do we put Guyana forward? How do we help to continue the development that has started in Guyana? I think that should be priority. Now, that is my little take on that. As we proceed, I will now invite, this is the format the press conference will take. We'll have two opening remarks by Mr. Edwards and Roshni. They give their personal insights on why they've chosen to embrace the PPPC. And we will also, each person will be asked questions. Each of you will have two questions, one question followed by a follow-up question within the parameters of the press conference. Are we together? All right, good. So I'll now invite Mr. Sixtus Edwards with his opening statements.
The PPPC has been and remains an attractive and progressive political movement with a welcoming appeal to Guyanese of every strata, race, creed, and society. The record of the PPP in governance is transparent. The record reflects different commitments to the national goal and welfare of this country. It delivers, the PPP itself administration reflects a high success and consistent progress agenda for Guyana future. The government's development agenda has been transformative in nature, moving the economy from being a basket case to one consistent with robust growth and physical efficiency, from high indebted poor country to a middle income country status. And it has been rated by the leading financial institutions, respected leaders of the world, as being a shining star in the region and the attractive distinctions for business and investment. The government has been facilitating equitable income and social empowerment to all Guyanese through its social sector. Most notable among them are the National House Drive, which have seen development of dozens of new housing schemes and communities in more than 90,000 Guyanese have owned their own homes, house lots on which also they build their homes. First-time home owners are now benefiting from interest rebates through the mortgage bank, an initiative of the government that governing the heart. Water and electricity are now available in most parts of the country. Guyana has achieved universal health care and primary education. The government is working on building a knowledge-based society through its ITC and development program, which includes a one laptop per family program, the fiber optic internal connectivity initiative that will benefit, and it will be within the next month being placed through the administration of Mr. Donald Romitan. We embrace this. Next person.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Edwards. I'll now invite Ms. Roshni Boudou to give her opening remarks.
Thank you, Olive. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, pleasant good morning to you. I am very pleased to say that I am aligned on the list of candidates for the People's Progressive Party. I am embracing progress and joining forces with this party to move Guyana forward in every respect. And when I say I mean we, the young generation. Indeed, the list does have approximately 40% of the youths. But we always hear tomorrow, the youths will rule tomorrow. Youths are the leaders of our future, of our Guyana. The People's Progressive Party is definitely paving pathways for us. And if we, the youths, can be examples for you to emulate someday for our younger generation, the people that are younger than us, I believe that I have my choice, and I'm free to say that I choose to be on the list of candidates for the People's Progressive Party. We believe that the People's Progressive Party Civic is genuinely and consistently working to facilitate a better life for all Guyanese. We are resolved that the PPPC is the only party capable of securing prosperous destiny for all Guyanese. And when I say all Guyanese, we're starting from a tender age. As I said earlier, we are free, we have a choice, and we have a voice. Our voice, the youths, the young Guyana, will contribute to the vision that the People's Progressive Party has in store for us. People are drawn towards strong personalities, and we, the young generation, can radiate authenticity, concern, and selflessness, fearless to stand up and speak when we feel something needs to be said. So my right, my choice, I think it should not be judged, or I don't need to justify it, because, as I said, and as Olive rightly said earlier, we have a democratic right And I chose to be a candidate on the People's Progressive Party. And when I say I mean we, the Young Guyana. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Roshni. Now I'll invite you, members of the media, to, it's now open for questions. Each of you, each media house will be allowed to ask 2 questions. Shoot.
Sir, based on your statement, you recognize a lot of positives by the PV. Why only now do you recognize that a mere few months after having left the AFC?
As you would have known, and all of you would have known, I was the General Secretary for the Alliance for Change. And when this AFC was formed, we had a principle. And I was part of that, or the formation of that AFC. But I realized later that I made a mistake, because those core values and principles has left the AFC. And they has taken another pattern of, I would say, not only cronyism within the party or so, but they has gone in the direction to get power, not to look after the people's interests. And that is the reason why I left the AFC. And I supported, when I looked at the Donald Ramata administration, and for the past years, and many years ago, I realized that this is the only party, not the PPP, not the AFC, neither the APNU, can bring this country back to the level of where it came from. I realized the only party can do this is the PPPC or the administration.
Is it because you fell out with the AFC over what you say are your core values?
No, I don't think so. I want to continue serving the people of this country, and that is the reason why I give all my support to Donald Ramata.
Chairman Green, thank you. Mr. Sextus, you made reference to the fact that the PPP is a party that can take us where we need to be. You're suggesting you're not where we are, should be right now. Could you say you would be advocating for change within the party?
Say again?
Is there need for change within the
PPP party? No, I have not said. No, I haven't said so.
There
If-
is a need.
I don't think there's any change. There is no need for any change. What I look back at in the 85, when this country itself was bankrupt, 1985. And if you look at now, we'll see we have a stable economy. All right. So we have nobody on the breadline anymore. With that stable economy, we want to see that progress continue.
And if I can jump in there, radically, what has happened in the last, let's just go back to 5 years, we have built a stable economy. The foundation has been built. The Vision 2.0 that is being proposed at this election is to move from that foundation, just like you would have built a house, and now bring about the more macro industries that will radically transform Guyana. And just a good example, transport economics. When, as a young person, you say we're looking for jobs. Well, we have done, on the education sector, built a foundation. Now, as we bring those new industries, such as marine management or the Deepwater Harbor, the road to Brazil, which is transport economics, that then, if you're now going to university in the next couple of years, you want to study engineering, you want to study. So those are changes. I would say yes, the party continues to change to ensure that they develop Guyana to the next level in order for the young people to have that result that we're all looking for, including my colleagues next to the table. I've been able to do it, but I believe as we build version 2.0, that will bring about the change needed to the next generation. But the foundation first had to be built. And I think what Success was referring to, that yes, progress has been made, but I would never say it's finished. We've got to continue, and we've got to change within, and we all have to contribute to that change.
Ms. Ramswood, are you at all concerned about the many reports and the observers talking about corruption within the party? And at one point you did not support the PPP. Could you say what has changed?
Well, absolutely. Anytime you have perception, any perception, that means we've got to do something different. When I have criticized the government in the past, I've always presented alternatives, and it's much more criticism has been on economics. But in order, and I think the president understands that perception. He's calling for a separate unit to deal with any perception of corruption. And folks that know me, if I see it, I'll say it. So for the president to ask me to be part of the team, knowing that I will speak out, that means he is saying to all of us, if we see it, tell him. And if we can prove it, he'll fix it. And I think that's the commitment that we've got to give the president for. And I think setting up a separate unit to deal with the perception. And I said that in the past, and I told people, I couldn't find the evidence myself. I've made those statements, and I spent money trying to find the evidence of that, and I couldn't find it. And I think that the president is right in saying no, but once there's perception, we need to work at it. And setting up that separate unit to deal with that shows his commitment to ensure that we do not have that perception in the future.
All right, I will now switch gears to Ms. Selman. She would like to make a comment.
Thank you. I just want to add to what Mr. Edwards said, that we are not where, Guyana is not where it should be. And what we've seen a genuine commitment on the part of the PPP to ensure that we have universal secondary education over the next couple of years, because we have achieved universal primary education. So we are there, and we are moving on, so we are not where we ought to be. The government is also committed to ensuring that we have more online programs that our university students will be able to benefit from. I think some parts of the manifesto excerpts will also say that the PPP is committed to ensuring that there's the establishment of a deep water harbor. And so Guyana is not where we want it to be, but we're moving forward.
May I ask, we all know there's a difference between expressing your support for a party and being asked to represent that party on the list of nominees. Can either of you speak to what is the criteria for this election? As far as you are aware, there's a difference between expressing your support for this party and being asked to represent the party on the list of nominees.
Well,
Can you tell me what you know of the criteria for this?
Yes, well, if you look at the list, I think the list of any political party is to ensure they have a broad skill set of professionals, a broad skill set of society in terms of, I looked at the list of 5 pastors, priests, pandits is on the list, religious expertise, economic expertise, the young generation expertise. I am more impressed with what Donald Ramotar has presented. When you see these young faces, I applaud, guys like Clinton Erling raising their hand and says, I want to be part of the future. I want to make a difference. So yes, the president criteria in selecting the list looks across. I have a young person right next to me. She's a teacher in Santa Rosa. Coming to the table and says, I live in that community area. I've seen the development. I want to continue to make the interior better. So it is a significant criteria. We're not here just to showcase faces. The president has asked each of us to ensure what we bring to the table, we've got to be able to contribute in the future.
Any other questions?
Hope that answers.
Go ahead. Kingsley, we have somebody there. Kingsley. Yes, go ahead.
You spoke of the involvement of youth on the list. What would you say to those youths who are yet to make up their mind as it relates to any political party? And 2, what would you say to the youths who are of the opinion that they have been neglected by the PPP? Because there are those out there. What would you say to them?
Can you repeat the first question? The first part, let's go with the first part first.
The first question is, what is the focus on youth? And the second part will be, what would you say to the the youth that haven't made up their mind as yet to any political party, and what would you say to those that feel as if they've been neglected by the PPP?
Well, for the ones who haven't made up their minds as yet, we, the young ones who are on the list, we want to be an example for them to emulate, because we've made a choice to say that we think that, or we believe that the People's Progressive Party will take us forward. And we have seen across the years that we've been moving forward and the development continues. So obviously, if you are young and you want to prosper and you have dreams and you have goals, and you see that the People's Progressive Party are working to making those dreams reality, then you definitely want to be a part of that list or be a part of the support crew. So who doesn't want to be in something where you prosper good or proper good results in the end? Of course, nobody wants to endure failure. Everybody wants to get victory. Victory for yourself means victory for the country.
And what the young people are looking for, and as a professor in helping teach some of those students, anytime you go get your education, higher level education, you want higher paying jobs. And as you look at some of the new industries, the technology infusion in Guyana, from call centers, we're going to move from call centers to what I call back office processing, where you require much higher paying jobs. When you look at the transport economics I mentioned, the road to Brazil, the Deepwater Harbor, those are industries that will excite a young person who says, you know what, I'm going to be ready for those jobs. So initially, I would say the reason why we're calling it version 2.0, version 1.0 had to be built. We couldn't move to the Deepwater Harbor 5 years ago, even though I preached that for years. We had to build the social sector. We have to ensure we have a stable economy. We have to make sure foreign investors are paying attention to our country, and they are, and local investors are putting more money into the system. That then builds on it. So a young person needs to say, let me step on that bandwagon and let me join on, because I want to benefit. And that's where the prosperity and creation of wealth comes from. As an entrepreneur growing up in Guyana as a young kid, I had dreams, and the fact is, given opportunities, regardless of where the opportunities are, you get a chance to develop yourself. And I'm a product. I mean, I grew up in the Essequibo Coast. I had a great education. I've been able to develop myself, but I had opportunities. And I think what the president is saying to all of us is version 2.0 is we're going to take the next level of industries and give all young people that opportunity to dream. And I hope all are successful.
If I may add, I have not heard about this progress from anyone. I have lived this progress as a young woman growing up in the interior. I have seen this progress firsthand. I myself am a living example of that progress, the education opportunities I was given as a young person. I'm very thankful for that. And you see, the thing is, our leadership believes that that Guyana alone, Georgetown alone does not represent Guyana. Guyana is so wide; it spreads across all 10 regions of Guyana. And there are young people in all of these regions, and all of us must get the equal opportunities, not just one part of Guyana alone. And that is what my party believes and the leadership believes in, and that is what I believe in, which is why I chose to support this party on the way forward.
If I may just add to part of the question which has not been fully dealt with, I am not aware that young people are portions of society with young people are left behind. I see and I experience that opportunities are out there and are given to every single Guyanese, young, medium, old. Every opportunities are given, but it is the young minds being readily available or making themselves available to seize those opportunities. Now, for the younger generation, this is where even me as a young mother, I always ensure that my children are aware of when opportunities are coming by for them to seize the opportunities. And this is where the grooming starts from home. So to answer your question, this is where parents come in, and teachers, where you work together as a society to ensure that the opportunities that are being put out there by the government, that the young people are readily prepared and their minds are alert to seize those opportunities.
If I may say, I would encourage young persons to not be deceived by political parties, more or less. For example, and in their slogans, time for change. Time for change what? The young people have to look back to 20 years. And those who are on the 20, they have to maybe look back to see where we were 10 years ago and where we are today. Are we making progress? Are we moving forward? And I think the answer would be yes. I'm sure, and I can speak for young persons, they're not blind. They are seeing progress. And as we move forward, I'm sure they will see more progress. And so let's not deceive ourselves with this old notion of time for change.
Dennis?
A question to both Ms. Sullivan and Mr. Edwards. Why didn't you join the PP before, having recognized all of the things you pointed to? I want to hear from them.
I think I told you, you remember just now, I told you that I was the architect in building that AFC. And the AFC was going somewhere. But now they have turned the time to something else. And after I realized that, I said, no, that is not what we built this party for. Because this party was built based on young people to give them an alternative. But this alternative is not there anymore. So I decided to go off and let the party do what it had to do.
Thank you very much. You would recall that I did say that I joined the PNC platform, just like I'm joining the PPP's platform in 2015. I joined the PNC's platform in 2006 while I was lecturing at the university. And for me, education is so very much important. And so I jumped onto the bandwagon, if you want to call it that, when they unveiled their manifesto and when one of the major focus was free education from nursery to tertiary. And so I joined them, and they obtained 22 seats, so they did not control the power in the National Assembly. But in 2011, under the umbrella of a Partnership for National Unity and collaborating or forming an alliance with the Alliance for Change, they obtained a taste of power, that is the leadership. Of course, the leadership by 2011 had changed. It was no longer Mr. Robert Corbyn, whom I have found to be an exceptionally good leader, and I would say that if there were problems and you take it to Mr. Corbyn, he attempted to resolve them. Mr. Granger, on the other hand, when you did bring issues to his attention, he did not deal with them. And for me, he has proven to be a very weak leader. And I was unable, and many persons are unable, to really represent Guyana and represent people's issues. Because when you send your recommendations to the leadership of the APNU, you're castigated for them. And I went through it with the media, and everyone has seen what I've said or read what I've said. And so I do not need to regale you with that again. The PPP, on the other hand, I will say this too. And so the free education from nursery to tertiary. What really disappointed me was when they decided to sacrifice the young people by cutting the student loan in the interest of saying that we are preventing the PPP from using this money to conduct their campaign. How can you use young people as collateral damage? Or how could you sacrifice young people's education in the interest of protecting monies or saving it from the PPP? And so if you can attack education, and I value that, that's my core value. So they've betrayed the young people, they've betrayed me, and I felt, you know what, I really have to begin to consider whether I am really able to serve under the APNU, having sent my suggestions to the leader as it relates to the anti-money laundering bill, and got a cuss out from the chief whip. And I will say this boldly, that I'm sure it was Mr. Granger who instructed her, because I did not send the email to Amna Ali. I sent it to Mr. Granger and Mr. Greenidge. And at that point in time, Mr. Greenidge and Miss Ali were not speaking to each other as a result of the leadership contest between Mr. Greenidge and Mr. Granger. And so you are stifled in the APNU. You're not given an opportunity to make your points, to make your suggestions when you do your knockdown. And it is for that reason that I left, and I could not continue to serve them. I would like to continue to serve Guyana because I believe in service. I'm a teacher and I provide service through education. And I believe that the PPP, they have shown that they're interested in education. They've provided student loans. They are now at the point of ensuring that the more online programs are available to students. And so, yes, they are committed to the country's development, and I'll consider myself privileged to have been considered to serve under the PPP. I hope I've answered your question, sir.
Not really. What I'm really trying to get from you both is, having recognized in your own words the benefits that have been accrued under the PPP administration, what really was the barrier to you wanting before now to be associated with this progress to which you have referred? Not so much about your internal differences with your previous parties, but having is it today only recognizing the progress in the
I answered that already.
That's what I'm trying to
I think
I answered that already.
both of them answered. They answered already.
Yeah,
yes,
I did answer.
Yes. All right. Yes.
Rebecca again, Toronto. We're encouraging persons, young persons to join the party. How then will you address these young persons being attacked from the opposition? For example, Clinton Erwin.
Peter?
Well, I mentioned earlier, we should be absolutely impressed. Clinton Erling is a prime example of a young entrepreneur in the country. We should be patting him on the back, regardless. General Granger should be the first one to say to Clinton Erling, I'm glad that you have done well in Guyana and you're a successful young business person. We can't chastise them. To call them names and dirty social media is a insult to many young people in Guyana. Says, wait a minute, if I'm an entrepreneur and I've done well, but I join my political freedom to join a political party, then I'm suddenly bad. I was a very good example. I mean, when I was within the PNC ranks, I was a star boy. Suddenly, so I'm no longer there. I'm the worst person you could have ever seen. And I believe I will defend Clinton. I will defend all the young people that believes that the system is there to support them, and you have to applaud them. You know, when you look at the what I call the marriage of convenience, you know, we have the rhetoric that says the APNU, AFC, got engaged on Valentine's Day, married on nomination day, and will be divorced on election day. You know, the fact is, the prenup is not going to work. We've got a no U-turn. We've got to take Guyana forward. And comments like that from the political system that says Clinton Erling and some of these other folks are not qualified to make Guyana better as an insult to our nation, and it needs to be dealt with. And that divorce on election day will happen.
All right, ladies and gentlemen of the media, any other question? One more before we wrap up. That's it. All right. Well, before we bring this press conference to a close, I'll invite the candidates to give their closing remarks. Sarah? Sarah?
I have chosen to represent this political party because it's the only party that has a proven track record. It has shown consistent development throughout all sectors of Guyana, and therefore I am proud to be associated, and I encourage all the youth at this time, let us come on board and support this progressive party so we're on the way forward.
Thank you. Dr. Ramsuru?
I'm passionate about our country. I'm passionate about making things happen. I am glad the President has asked me to be part of his team, and I'm going to work hard to make Guyana better for all of us. And no U-turn. We cannot go backwards. We've got to continue to develop our country and to the benefit of all Guyanese. And that's the mission of the President, and that's what I support.
Ms. Roshni?
Like I said earlier, I'm embracing progress, and I believe that the People's Progressive Party will take me forward, and definitely our party is capable of securing a future for the young Guyana.
Mr. Edwards?
Oh, I want to see progress continues. I want to see the wheel of progress continues, and I also would call on every young people in this land to support the cause, the PPPC.
Ms. Ahmed?
Thank you very much. I do believe that the PPPC, under His Excellency Donald Ramotar, is genuinely and consistently committed to moving Guyana forward. I would like to call on all young persons, especially those that I've taught in primary school at the West Randall Primary School. Ms. Aprico is now calling on all of you to support me as I support the People's Progressive Party in taking this country forward. I look forward to your support, and I want to thank you in advance.
That's it. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, my colleagues, thank you very much for sharing your presence today and providing full coverage of today's media engagement. Thank you.